All right. Welcome back, everyone, to Divine Right of Kings. Thank you for your patience. It's good to be back. Ah, what a wonderful day we had. We had a delightful little visit to the prince. We talked with his family, and there were no problems. And we went on a little coffee date, and that was also very normal. And also maybe burst into a secure facility with military grade hardware, which was also normal. Uh, how's everyone feeling?
Pretty good. That's not true. Bad.
Are we
Rattled.
ready for our meeting with the DOJ HR representative today? Well, we'll get to that. First, I believe there was some concern over what the video feed might look like for the break-in in the dome of House of Kings.
Yeah. I'm gonna bookkeeper is just gonna go ahead and forward that over to Dozer with a request for editing. Just like how quickly can you scrub all of our idents off this?
I can hand it to Baz and have it done near instantly.
Sounds like a winner.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and see if Baz can take a look at the file and just sort of automate the process of like scrubbing our identities. And you know what? I'll give him creative license over the editing of it as well. Just see like
Oh,
what kind of cut he provides.
The potato
mm,
chip cut.
yes. Well, yes. Okay. Yes. It's yes. Yes. And there you are. And that was how long it took. Is what Baz says to you, word for word, but also is how long it takes before you get the file back.
That's incredible.
Not
Thanks for
only are
that.
your idents scrapped, sort of, even though like the security forces were largely in their mechs, right? Their security idents are also scrapped, and there's like a rotating GeoCities GIF of like a different potato chip over the face of each participant, and also all of the identifying information, and also places where identifying information would be on different interfaces, specifically to anonymize them effectively. But also the potato chips are well, they're thinly veiled insults about the quality of each individual's character,
Good.
aligning
If
with
you,
the specific failings of that kind of potato chip.
but only Baz can understand that.
If you understood the intricacies of Baz's potato chip ranking system, you would understand.
It
It's
is
actually really nuanced. You have to
Yeah.
read the
it is.
subtext.
Hey, the 6,015 the 6,015 page document and the an introduction to understanding the truth of potato chip cooperation is included with the file.
Good
Yes.
God, it's a manifesto.
Oh, good God.
No, the proper documentation is what that is.
Sorry, what
Proud of
was
you,
that?
Baz.
What was that, Lauren?
Oh, just that's proper documentation.
Dozer, does this meet your needs for anonymizing the files? It
Oh,
does
God.
effectively anonymize the files, but it is like clear that someone's being very particular. It isn't. Hey, it is some pretty deeply Horus behavior.
No, and honestly, I mean, anonymizing the like faces and identities of the guards also makes us more sympathetic. So this is excellent.
Phenomenal. Um, at this point, it's out of bookkeeper's hands, but out of character, I would like to ask: is there still enough remaining in identification to, uh, without a doubt, corroborate that with the inside of the dome, so they can't claim it was a separate incident, unrelated?
Uh oh, you're saying like can they claim that that there was incident security incident at the dome was different
Yes.
because no, you can tell time of day and stuff.
Okay.
Because
Cool.
the beautiful camera angle where you go soaring out the back deck, jump, and just go into the water, you can tell very clearly what time of day it is.
Phenomenal. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and I know Granny Electronic Granny has uh distribution channels set up at this point, right? Like she has a website of some sort, or
Oh, are you gonna give her the footage to distribute?
Right.
yeah, I figure letting her kind of spearhead that seems like a good idea.
Oh, she's so delighted. You're letting little old her get to work, even though she's given up her wicked ways and is but a poor spinster.
Almost very careful not to word it in any way that would make it sound like they're throwing them a bone or something.
Right. This is a we need your help thing, not a.
Exactly. Like you're the person who has control over these distribution channels. You know best how to go ahead and like market this to the local audience. You're the one who knows. So we need you
Oh
to.
no, giving a girl control. You really know how to make her feel welcome. Uh, it starts by being trans. But the best part is that 20 minutes before the news broadcast goes out, it starts by being the first search result for any search result on the local net. Like, someone searches on the local net and they see that video, and then the results later, once they've watched 30 seconds of the video.
Oh my, she is good.
This is why we love her.
And then 20 minutes later, exactly 20 minutes later on the dot, the news story releases. It might have gotten delayed somehow by network errors.
She's so good. So powerful.
All yours. All yours. The thing is, right, that sometimes like you roll for it, sometimes it's like, well, actually, if you have enough contacts, they roll for it. And it's very effective when they roll for it. Is there anything else y'all want with the footage?
Those are
Not.
good.
I'm happy.
Wonderful, wonderful. If not, Hero, it's the morning of.
I
News is
think
muttering something about a security incident at the home of House of Kings.
I think Bastion sort of after the events just sort of like passed out in bed. Um and I think it's the next morning and he is gonna face call like do a video call with Percy.
Yeah,
Just to let Percy know he's not dead.
yeah. Percy answers immediately.
Hi.
He looks like exhausted and worn out. He goes, I'm glad to see that you're well.
Likewise. I assume how was the night with your father?
No one died. I'm very glad to hear of it.
That's so not well.
I suppose what I had planned is a triumphant return. Perhaps things do not always go to plan.
Yeah. No, you can say that again. Uh,
Elias is acting differently, at least.
oh? How so?
It's not that his anger has left him. Perhaps it has been. Perhaps he has redirected it, refocused it.
That's good. If he ever tries anything like that again, you can come stay with me.
Hmm.
And
I don't think he will.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's good.
I don't believe it was a victory for him. I saw it in his eyes. And And he kind of smirks a little bit.
I'm glad.
Yep.
I'm
glad that you were well.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry that things ended like that. I'm sorry I wasn't more careful.
Wish that I could have protected you better. Some of us are still learning to rectify our fate. In any case, it's very good to see you. Afraid I have a busy day ahead, but
Me too. I'll talk to you later.
indeed. Hope that your day goes well.
Yours too. And I think Bastion blows him a little kiss and then hangs up.
Oh my god! Just the look of shock on his face. The big like blush, and then is the last thing you see as the call ends. That's so cute. What else are people doing with their morning pen? How are you feeling this morning? Pen, are you with us?
Sorry, I was thinking. Pen is. I don't know. I think that, Pen's excited. It's a big day today. There's a obviously there's important legal evidence he has to compile later. But I think the first thing that he's gonna do is message Eustace and just say, hey, do you want to go grab that coffee?
Like a 15-minute wait for response time, and then like just a series of like really not super cogent characters in a row with a couple spaces, and then he goes, coffee good, send, like bduh, send, what am I thinking? Like late nibta send little animated sticker of a dog with a baseball bat playing
Oh my god.
playing sports, send.
Oh my god.
Ops no, send. 10-minute pause. I would love to get coffee.
Is this a quick peek into the life of perhaps the DM? And there's
Listen.
messaging history.
He has similar messaging habits to me. It's fine. He's a late night boy, and sometimes he has a boot. Some of us wake up fully aware, and some of us have a boot sequence that has to finish running. It makes like a fucking it makes a whirring noise and a dial-up sound.
Also, we have previously established that Penn also wakes up ungodly early. So
Yeah.
Oh no. I hope that Penn texting him didn't wake him up. It's fine. It's fine. Penn could have waited an hour or two, make sure the sun was risen before he texted.
Yeah.
I think Penn would just respond to, sweet, do you have a preferred coffee place?
Oh, yes, certainly. It's not, it's over text. So the look at Oh, sorry. I know this one. Here's you want to use his actual typing habit is
What?
besides just waking up. Oh, comma, yes, comma, it's over here, comma, name of coffee shop, period.
Beautiful. I think Penn's like, okay, cool. When works for you?
I'm free all day. Reports were yesterday.
Oh, reports were yesterday. That explains it. Um, 45 minutes?
Sounds good. See you there. Same dog sticker, but now it is giving a thumbs up.
Amazing. We love baseball bat dog.
Love baseball bat dog.
Can I also add
Yeah.
that I think Bastion texts Olmo and just says, "You wanted to talk, right?"
Yeah, Olmo will go and respond. Yeah, when would be a good time to meet up? Just maybe get some coffee or something.
And Bastion just says, "I'm free all day."
Okay. Olmo will probably just send over, the local coffee shop that everybody always meets at. Maybe around like midday or something.
And everyone gets a text from Contact. He has a message from Contact detailing sort of the time, the late afternoon for the meeting with the Union Department of Justice and Human Rights auditor. And they get he says, I would appreciate it if you could formulate the best collection of evidence you have. I cannot help you with this step. I cannot assist in this step.
Interesting. Okay.
Your words and your understandings are your own. Which is said like you get the sense from when you read that sentence that you're like, oh, this is like a legal thing. Like this is a specific thing that he can't interfere.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta do it without my dad.
Wonderful.
Does anybody else want to have a scene before I show up at the coffee shop?
I'm good.
All right, cool. I show up at the coffee shop.
Yeah. I mean, he does just default to his normal coffee shop, so there's a coffee shop, block from Temple.
Yeah.
Because of course there is.
Yeah, of course.
What you got a place with a bunch of really organized, like specific nerds, and you're not gonna get them a coffee shop? Crazy. Of course it's a coffee. Yeah. Eustace is there. A few, like you can tell he's been there. Like he's like 15 minutes early.
Oh my god.
He's awkwardly sitting with his coffee. When do you get there? Freeze out.
Maybe like 5 minutes early.
Okay, you see him tossing the first coffee and ordering the second as you come in.
Amazing. I just probably like not speed walk over to him, but make my way towards him fast-ish, at a but still walking pace. Very precise, I know. And then say, "Hey, Eustace."
He jumps and spills a little bit of his coffee.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Hello, ow, yes, it's good to see you. Thank you for coming out to see me. Happy coffee?
Yeah, do you have any recommendations? Anything?
Everything's good.
Is there, when I look over at the menu, is there anything that they serve here that isn't served at like a typical coffee shop? Like, do they have any weird things that they do?
There's a couple specialized things, like a blend of spices that's supposed to be spices that were from Passacali's time, right? It doesn't super specify what they were, but were supposed to be from the time of Passacali 1. Barista behind the counter, like, clearly this is their like part-time job while they're studying, and they are bored out of their mind.
Beautiful. I love
They're
it.
just done. No, they're not overworked done. They're just done spiritually.
Uh-huh. I guess I'll order the special spice blend coffee that they've got here.
Yeah, it's good. It's kind of nutmeggy.
I love nutmeg.
Yeah, nutmeg's good. But it's kind of just nutmeg and like allspice and
It's fine.
like a few other things. Eustace has finished cleaning up the coffee spill mess. Because yes, it's so I'm so glad you wanted to meet with me. And he nervously like pushes his glasses further up the bridge of his nose. What were you wanting to speak with me about?
Well, I just remember last time we talked, you were talking about your theories and hypotheses about and thoughts about past historical events, and you didn't want to share them, and that made me interested, and I want to know what you think.
Oh well, that's that's rather complicated and convoluted, and I'm not sure if really you'd be interested in all of the.
You're right. I couldn't
geological
possibly
stratification.
I couldn't possibly understand.
Oh, not to besmirch your intelligence. Of course, you see him like, oh no, the dread in him.
Pen is like big smile, incredibly relaxed, like very much trying to like make
You have
it
activated
obvious
the social anxiety.
trying to make it as obvious as possible that he's teasing. But if he seems to still be spiraling, Pen would be like,
Listen, I didn't mean to besmirch your intelligence in any way. It's just very particular, and usually people aren't interested in the particularities of rock formations over time.
Actually, I would love to hear about that. I've been having, I don't know, as you have seen, I've been trying to find out more about that time period and feeling kind of disheartened with the current evidence and that we currently have from that time period. So I would love to hear what you have to say about it, actually. That sounds amazing.
Well, as we understand it, the forming of new geological structures, it takes time, right? It trying to figure out how to parse this from the numbers. It takes time and structure and there are signs left behind in different crystalline formations based on the time it took for those rocks to be there, like the rings on a tree. Structures consistent in much of the larger rocks that we've been able to discover show signs of some sort of great change or upheaval that's only about 100 years old.
100? Really?
100, 200, it's a little unclear.
What's the quick
Geologically
out of
is so brief.
Yeah, that seems out of character. When was the
About 500 years. About 500 years. But
Okay.
that might be within his margin of error, a little unclear. He says it might be because many of these have offshoots of projects that other people were working on. But our larger sedimentary rocks date back to approximately 500 years ago. Seems astonishingly short.
Yeah.
I was reprimanded when I began searching down this path, and I do not believe that others would be open to doing this research or engaging with it. In fact, I have received fairly clear signals that this is something that is not to be looked into. But I'm unclear as to why.
Wait, who do you know who didn't want you looking into it?
All I
Just-
know is that it comes from above.
Yeah, that tends to be how it goes, huh? Fascinating.
And the geology also doesn't make sense with the timeline. If the mass impact, the plant life should have begun growing by this point after so many thousands of years since the impact. So something must be stunting the plant's growth, or something must be wrong with the plants. Or there are some special properties to the mass impact that are as yet unexplained, which is surprising because much of the impact craters upon Caracas itself have begun to regrow already.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I wonder what that's about.
Freeze out, you were there.
Uh-huh.
Hey, it hasn't been 1,000 years since the impact, and you're like, oh, so he's got the part where the plants aren't growing back properly, but he's going off in a different direction because he's trying to make sense of the data he thinks he has.
Right.
And so he's like, oh, there was a mass event somewhere between 100 and 500 years ago. It was different from the impact. And he's got the piece of data that he thinks is true, that the impact was 1,000 and so years ago. It was over 1,000 years ago, right? And the plants aren't regrowing properly. So he's back solving an idea that maybe there was a different ecological event. That doesn't track either with the official narrative or doesn't track with what you know is true of the things.
Yeah. And just to make sure that I understood what was happening, it wasn't that the KTB they had basically, what exactly did they do to the planet? Just to make sure I
Moronic
understand.
royal family was using terraforming tools on the planet to wipe it clean.
Okay. I think yeah, in that case, Penn would probably say something along the lines of, do we know of any tools that existed in that time period that could do something like that?
I mean, theoretically, there would be a terraforming project, but if a terraforming project was used, it should leave the planet verdant and green.
Yeah.
And the samples we've recovered from before that period, there's trees and wood, and other instances of plants that the dating system must be off because they must be before the impact. And also, there would be official records if there had been a terraforming project in that time.
planet ever been sorry, this sounds so silly, I'm sure. Has a planet ever been like de-terraformed?
I mean, I suppose it would be theoretically possible. And he looks around. The coffee shop's kind of bustling, but not loud, busy. People are moving in and out, and he leans forward and just whispers to freeze out. I suppose there is the case of the people of Ludra's world, who only were able to survive the terraforming process because they hid in the mines. But and he sits back up. But that's certainly not relevant here.
No. Yeah, I know. I mean, it was a silly question anyway.
Yeah, so I just I haven't solved it yet. I'm still considering the variables.
No kidding. How did you sorry, how did you get into uh this field of study in the first place?
And he looks down and sort of quizzically he says, "Well, I've always had a fascination with rocks and also history and rocks." And he sort of nods to himself.
Hell yeah, I love that. I'll be honest, my experience with rocks doesn't go much beyond appreciating the particularly shiny ones, but there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and I think that there's a lot to be said about using geological and archaeological surveys, incorporating data from,
I do
you know.
suppose if most of your interactions were with a simulation on the digital campus, that might be difficult to fully simulate the nuances of geologic strata for interaction.
Yeah.
Well,
Tell me
and
more.
he just starts like explaining to you
Oh my
like
God.
the ways that rocks are unique to handle, the things about them that are like haptically unique, that it might be difficult to replicate in their nuance in a simulated environment like that of the digital campus that's also OmniNet connected. That like you realize that like Eustace doesn't have a specialty in like OmniNet engineering, but he does understand a lot about this because he was curious about it at some point.
Yes, absolutely. He is very tactile, and he has
He's one of
strong
those, like,
feelings about it.
Rocks. This is rocks related, so I figured it out.
uh So does that mean that you've had the opportunity to go on like digs and stuff like that?
Oh, certainly. There have been a good number of digs. There's not much in the rest of the deserts, but I've been a member of a good number of expeditions. Why do you ask?
Seemed like something that you had a lot of experience in, and I think that's cool. I mean, virtual application of knowledge can only get you so far. Um, as you were
Precisely.
saying.
Well, it's not that it is unavailable, just that I think some of the delight and interest in the physical actions of exploratory research can sometimes be lost with different teaching methods, and I believe that sometimes a mix of methods, sometimes including directed tactile interaction, is important for designing an experience that is more fully interactive and engaging.
Absolutely. No, don't apologize. I also am just a big fan of having the opportunity to actually go out on trips and visiting a place. I think that the actual experience of travel really helps, at least for me, to contextualize the placement in history in which something exists, you know?
Mars, make me a survival check.
Oh, good. Survival, not read a situation?
Survival.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
21. Look
Plus-
at that.
I should have added another 2, so technically that would have been 23.
We'd love a 23. A very tall man left the coffee shop. You're not sure why that stuck out to you. Congratulations on your 23.
Tall people.
Yeah.
They
I mean,
stand
there's
out
tons of tall
sometimes.
people everywhere. That's what a 23 gets you. Welcome to hell.
Sometimes the
actually, the
hypervigilance
part where it's a
pings and you-
23 is specifically the fact that you don't know why your brain made that stand out to you. Why your brain was like, oh, nope, don't know why that stuck out to me. And you sort of fade back into just being like, well, of course, I really think that direct study is something especially special to me, although I understand it's not helpful for everyone. It's I think sometimes the tactility of knowledge can be lost in different forms of interaction. I found the incident that happened at the temple earlier, just a few days ago, especially revealing, as I had not understood sort of the reason that often we find that even first-hand accounts can be chaotic or difficult to understand, and it's because the distance of a second-hand account makes things easier.
That's
It makes it
interesting.
easier to place within a fuller context an event that is happening before you.
Wait, were you there?
Oh,
I mean, I guess it was right at the temple, wasn't it?
I was just coming back from my morning coffee.
Oh goodness. I'm glad you're okay.
I had a wonderful time, actually. Adam kind of smiles to himself.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm
Yes.
glad you didn't get shot.
Well, experiencing a moment of history is perhaps worth the difficulties and complexities that one might otherwise be concerned about.
That's fair.
So I do believe that perhaps I should brush up upon my study of history if as I said, putting things into a larger context.
Yeah, the context will get you. For sure.
I do need to return to my studies at some point, but
Yeah,
this was
absolutely.
wonderful. I do hope I haven't talked too much.
No, it's okay. Thanks for letting me grill you on your opinions and ideas.
Of course. Well, I'm always happy to discuss new and intriguing research or concepts. I think that sharing knowledge is something that's, and you see he makes his little kind of shy little face when he looks up at you, and he's like, I think that sharing research and ideas is one of the most important things we can do together as people. And I'm sorry, I'm talking too much again.
No. Oh my gosh, you're delightful. Don't apologize for talking. It's
Well,
really nice hearing what you have to say.
well, thank you for having me out to coffee.
Yeah. I'm always happy to have a coffee date anytime.
And you see in his eyes, like he doesn't acknowledge it, but he's like this, like you see in his like the facial expression of like, this was a date. And he goes, oh well, yes, please don't hesitate to call on me. And he kind of trips backwards out of his chair a little bit, and he says, thank you for your interest in my work. And I've already said that. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Oh goodness, I'm late. And scampers out the door. And the bells ring again.
Oh my god. Delightful. I think Penn's just sitting at the table smiling. Like, just utterly delighted.
Yeah. Why did your brain recognize there was that?
No, Is
That was
there video
interesting.
cameras in the coffee shop?
Are we hacking the coffee shop?
Can I hack the coffee shop now that I've got it? Well,
Roll me hack the coffee shop.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna hack it in the bathroom.
Amazing. Roll me hack the coffee shop.
I don't know how to hack things.
Roll me. You have hack or fix?
No.
You.
Can I message Olmo?
Yes. The secret is that if you offload rolls to to certain characters, they roll good regularly.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
There's a
Exactly.
secret theme of this game, which is the teamwork makes the dream work. It's not that secret of a theme.
Yeah. I think Pen's just gonna go to the bathroom and message Olmo. Hey, I'm at name of coffee shop. There was like a kind of suspicious tall person who left at timestamp or approximate time. Do we know him? Could we get ID?
I assume this is gonna be like a few levels of disadvantage, right? Trying to like do this remotely too.
I mean, it's
If I
hello. Hold on. Table just vanished?
I can see it.
I can also see it.
Oh, my viewpoint just spun upwards without warning.
Oh,
There we go.
Amazing.
Figured it out. It's like, why?
You are looking up.
Why in the
object
world?
permanence became none,
Object permanence
and so it
is
was
now
gone
real,
for
and it
you.
happened to me. What am I thinking? Yes. So this is a coffee shop's internal security system. It's not actually that complicated.
Okay.
This is one of the, like, you know how people don't sanitize their inputs?
Yeah.
It's not a fancy coffee shop.
Okay. Then would you be able to roll for me?
Yeah. Remind me what your role is?
It should be a total of +6, with grit and bonuses.
Get it.
Alright. That's a 21. Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, it's, Almo, there's just a man. He comes and orders coffee. He's wearing kind of a long, wearing kind of a hooded cloak. Not like uncommon in the heat. He's a couple inches taller than you. Pays for the coffee and he leaves. He lingers a bit next to Freezeout's table before he walks out the door. Like right behind Freezeout, so Freezeout can't
Am I
see.
bugged?
Oh my god.
Somebody put a tracker on me?
Are you bugged?
He doesn't seem to like put anything on Freezeout. Just stopping to check his phone. Sip his coffee.
No, we don't recognize
deeply
him?
innocuous. I can't see his face. Really, any identifying features? He's a couple inches taller than Olmo, but that's it.
How tall is
Jesus,
Olmo again?
why? How
I
tall
need to
is
check this. Not particularly tall, if I remember correctly, but let me.
Okay, so maybe he's
Yeah.
not that tall.
average height man, average man, inconspicuous man? He's a
Shorter
spy.
than Pen.
Okay.
I forget that Penn is like very tall.
Yeah.
My apologies, then. Penn is
6'1".
not a very tall man. Just a man.
Pen is 6'1". Pen is like
That's tall.
That's
tall, but not like super tall. Just tall.
Yeah.
I love how we have the full height spectrum.
Wait, who's super tall?
You.
Oh, we just thought. Okay.
I know what you
Yeah.
said, but you're super tall.
Yeah, Olmo, that's kind of all the information that's visible.
Would gait analysis or anything like that be possible?
Tell me more.
So you can identify people by how they walk, to a degree.
Oh yeah. You got above a 20.
The thing is, there wouldn't be a large database that I'd have to draw on unless I was going back through all of like our past videos, right, and like running it against everybody in those videos, and even then you probably want a decent amount of video of them walking. So
kind of walks like you.
No!
Okay, yeah, this clears things up a bit. I was wondering.
But is taller, importantly.
I'm sorry for the horrible noise I made. I was fucking flabbergasted. It was the scariest moment this entire campaign. Except for when I got shot. It's the second scariest moment.
Gonna go ahead and yeah, just share that information back and just let them know. Hey, let me know if you see them again. Just ASAP.
Can I make a roll on the information?
Oh, I'll let like if anybody is curious, right? I'll connect the dots. It's like it's
Sure.
probably a clone of me or one
I
of the
want
clones.
to roll to see if the gate similarity is possibly a result of training.
I don't know that you can do that from a
Oh.
grainy security camera video in a middling to low range coffee shop.
That's fair. I just wanted to like probe at the hunch that it was somebody with like military training, maybe not a Baylor clone.
Actually, that's sure. For investigating, they did like probably someone with military training. Just something about the efficiency of the movements.
Okay.
Minimum distance, really knows exactly the reach of its arm, stuff like that. Kind of get that like whiff off of it, but like that's it.
Cool.
Just shadows in the night at this point.
Well, that's a fun thing for later.
Good to remember there's more of me out there.
Let's see. Where else were we? Oh, does anyone have things they want to do for collecting evidence for the DOJ HR meeting tonight?
Yeah, I think Omo and Bastion are gonna talk.
Yeah, and then there was also I did want to go ahead and speak to. Sorry, looking at notes. Charlotte, that's it. Okay, sorry. I want to go ahead and just speak to Charlotte and try to interview them for the evidence.
Yeah. Oh, Dozer. By the way, you did see a couple people in very traditional dress. Now that you're watching that footage back, right, of you entering the dome, there were a couple people stumbling out of the way of the sort of the sprinting mechs. That you hadn't noticed at the time because they were just like a few meters ahead on the road. They weren't really in your direct way. Sort of stumbling farther away from them. That you that like were members of that sort of the class of people who are serving in the domes.
Okay. That'll definitely be valuable supporting evidence. Mainly, I just need to get the like experience of a child in the domes because any adult theoretically, right, like they entered into that while knowing, but the children are just purely being held captive.
Yeah.
I mean, Bastion just planned on bringing Charlotte to the meeting.
Yeah, 100%.
Hey, is if it's okay with everyone, Penn might just make a group chat that is team plus Charlotte.
Sure.
And just be like, "Hello, Charlotte, are you I'm not sure if Hero has had a chance to ask you yet, but are you willing to testify about your experience living in the dome today?"
Charlotte, takes like a good 35 minutes. And the first message is just like, sorry, I'm on break. And then a like pause, and then I'm sorry, what?
Anyone else want to take over from here, or should Penn do it?
I think Bastion just messages, "Do you want to come with me and talk about what it's been like to live here.
Oh, who are we speaking with? Testify, or is it a court proceeding? I didn't think we were at that level.
Almost as,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Almost just going to go ahead and lay out essentially that this would be a formal proceeding, which would potentially levy sanctions up to potentially including an intervention force, as far as I understand it. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
That all those things are theoretically on the table. I think both on what the petitioners want and what the needs of the world are.
Yeah, like this, just trying to go ahead and underline that this will have significant consequences, but also that this is essentially the way to move forward on that front.
This is gathering evidence for the trial, not the trial itself.
Yeah.
I want to message Charlotte back.
What?
What was that?
Charlotte was like, "Is this a trial? What's going on?"
Yeah,
Oh.
that's almost says all that.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
so sorry.
almost just laying out essentially that like this could lead to potentially like blockade to an interdiction force, but that this would be the first steps towards like actually opening up a trial.
You got from Charlotte like, hold on, I need to search up a few things, and then a delay as she like reads like reads up on like what is an embargo, what is a what is a blockade, what is what is a union intervention force, and then messages back like, I am of course I'm happy to help. I'm excited to see you all again. Work's been long. Although I have been doing, and then you get like there's the same a dog sticker, but it's like doing like a wink wink little animation, and just says like she's have been doing wink wink jog projects. So yeah, Charlotte's in.
How many people would be too many people to bring? Because Nathan also could come and have important things to say.
It might make it difficult, but you could definitely record. It might make it difficult if you have enough people there, but you could definitely record statements. Also, anyone you bring now has an understanding of where the secured meeting space is. Also, the more people you bring to the secured meeting space at once, the more people notice that people are going to a secured meeting space.
In general,
fair.
I would say probably recorded statement better, but with Charlotte in particular, because she's already kind of in hiding, and also her situation is
Yeah. No, you're
so
right.
fucking wild. It's so fucking wild.
Truly singular.
Yeah. Truly singular. Sometimes we do be living like that though. All right. Charlotte's message. What other evidence do people want to collect? And or what other things people want to do today?
So, did we have video from inside the crash and from going back in time as well, or?
Um,
I think we didn't have video from going back in time.
Okay.
Wait, but I mean, my Mac was with us the entire time. Are we allowed to use the video from that?
A lot of those audio files are. Hey, let me know when you try to open those audio files and where you are when you do it, or when you try to watch those video files back.
Yeah, I think that Penn would try to do that, especially as
Where?
we're prepping. Where?
Yeah.
On the roof of the SSC tower.
You're so mindful of why'd you go to the roof to watch video files? What possibly could have
Well, Well, I was trying to figure out a good place where Penn would like have privacy,
Right.
and that would be on top. That would be the top of the room. That would not be inside.
Yeah. Yeah, the video files are kind of a lot of them look corrupted. You can start playing them anyway. Like a lot of corrupted files simply won't open, but these ones like you can't play them.
Okay.
And they seem very similar. Oop, put away. And they seem very similar to how they were before. There's a lot of visual distortion. And it keeps spreading out, like the past the boundaries of the play. Or what device are you looking at this on? Is this like an AR heads up display? Is this like a handheld or a computer?
I really like the concept of Penn basically just having like a larger like iPad sized type handheld with like a single wire connected to the dusk wing.
I love.
I
Oh yeah.
think
Oh
that's
yeah.
cute. So that's what we're doing.
I think that's very cute. Yeah. So yeah, the playbacks, the videos will play back. They're very corrupted. Very hard to see anything. Some of the corruption sort of spreads. It sort of spreads out. Like when things are sort of larger than they were before, in shape.
Oh, good.
And they sort of generalize. Like past the edges.
Is there
of the device you're holding it on?
That's fine. I guess it's so what like in terms of where the corruption is, like especially since I was like at a good vantage point for looking at the whole scene before we actually entered the ship, are we able to see the mercenary crew and the diggers?
Yes, actually, you have very full vantage of that.
Okay, so we definitely want to include that.
The distortion gets much worse the deeper into the ship you went.
That makes sense.
Sort of rises and falls. You do have like one sort of garbled shot of the man that people know as Augur de Vakusu speaking with the person on the screen. There's like a couple chunks of that conversation. The audio is really messed up. As you look deeper, you start feeling weird, like physically in your body, as you go deeper into that.
Okay, I think maybe
footage.
Once Penn does like a physical check-in of how he's doing, he'd probably stop and try to not modify, but just like make isolated copies of the potential massacre and the false augur.
Yeah.
And at least having those as their own thing.
Oh, it's great. It's weird that the video files made you feel that way in your body. That's not right. That's a video file.
Yeah.
Imagine if you watched an MP4 and it made your mind fill with static. It's super great, like physiologically fill with static.
Yeah, and I think that Penn would also just make a copy of everything and like present that as evidence, but also be like, hey, in case this fucks with either you or your instruments, here's the most usable, least likely
here's this sort of in a shell version of the audio file.
Yeah.
Or video of the video file. Love that. Yeah, you have all those files super well collected.
Something. Oh, also probably just a copy of the water riot, the water protest stuff. This time not the anonymized like it was for what I gave to Eustace.
Wait, say that again?
So Eustace, I gave the basically I scrubbed the footage to delete any of the like basically like UI type video that would be around my typical like video
yeah.
stuff. And gave that to Eustace. I take the
What?
unedited version and make a copy of. Do you not remember this?
I'm sorry, I'm slow.
No, it's
With
okay.
patience. There've so many spinning plates.
It's all good.
Sorry, what footage? Again, real quick. What footage are you giving to Eustace?
Water protest.
Copy. From
Copy.
your own address? So are you letting him know who you are? Or you're just like, oh, I found this lying
No,
around the
no, no.
net.
So I had given previously, or directly after the fight,
Right.
I had
Oh, that's
given.
right.
So I basically I take the unedited version of that recording that
Copy.
I have, and
Got it.
that is also now evidence.
Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I got
Okay,
you.
yeah. Beautiful. Perfect. No notes. We love to see it. That's beautiful. Beautiful. Pen here. Listen, the body horror will not catch Pen. Pen is too busy collecting reports.
I mean, and it's also one of those things where he kind of like did recently install full subjectivity sync on his mech, and like he's still adapting to that a little bit. So maybe this is just
Maybe
like
that's just that.
maybe this is like one of those things where he's like getting used, like just like the echoes of the sensation of
Right.
piloting the mech because
Right.
he's rewatching the footage from being in the mech, and so you know how sometimes you like see old
Yeah.
point of view footage of yourself and get physical sensation about it. Yeah, that's totally
There
a
we
thing
go. Maybe it's
yeah.
phantom sensation.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's normal. Let's see. What do other people want to do to prepare?
I
Here,
think
actually-
Bastion and Omar are gonna talk.
Yeah.
Uh,
Omar, are you there? Are you with us?
Yes.
Bastion will walk over to the coffee shop around middays when I think they said they were gonna meet.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's actually not keep.
You grabbed me.
There we go. Yeah. What did y'all want to talk about?
Oh my god, what happened? That was crazy. Okay.
I'll say when you walk in, you just see Olmo kind of hanging out in the central, like, common area, and they just usher you up to one of the private, kind of talking booths.
Oh, we're not
Yeah.
using the meeting room?
Meeting room's fine. That should work as well if that's a private
Just
space.
because Shiva has that, like, very, very secure
Yeah, that'd be ideal.
Faraday cage thing.
Yeah, so just going ahead and, like, maybe grabbing whatever coffee or whatever we got and then heading up to there. Hey, so, I'm sorry to bug you and have you come all the way out here to just talk about, uh, dating stuff, but I just gotta ask, what is going on with you and the nobility right now?
I think Bastion gets real shy. I think Bastion looks down and he goes, Percy and I are dating.
Okay, I mean, I guess I just wonder, like, what do you see in them? Because a lot of what you're working towards seems to be antithetical to what they stand for.
I mean, um, they don't they don't stand for House of Kings either. And in fact have done an amount of work against them, and they've saved my life a couple times. And they're cute.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, it sounds like they've put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do just want to be sure, though, that they understand where things are heading, right? Because I do worry that they think that this is going to be, I don't know, a series of minor reforms, or that they're going to simply assume the mantle of leadership and rule with a more just hand when their family isn't likely going to be free, if alive, at the end of a revolution here.
We haven't really uh, talked about that. Um, because I don't, I don't know. I've, mm, I don't really know what's. I haven't thought that far out, I guess.
Alma just kind of sighs, and you see a little bit of the kind of like tension, right, that was building in them kind of leave them. Look, I understand. Things are probably moving very quickly for you, and you're figuring a lot of things out. Um, just keep in mind, this doesn't end particularly well. How much do you know about how Republican movements have gone in the Baronies?
I assume we don't teach that in the in schools on Passacalia's Promise. I would assume.
Oh, I mean, there are talks about how the futility of failed resistances. And then also what's said a lot, but quietly and not talked about, is the resistance on Ludra's world. And how they're being foolish over there. Ridiculous. And it kind of runs very counter to the narrative about how no resistance to sort of Baronic might and power is possible, because it's still going on, and it's been going on maybe your whole life.
Which one is that?
That's Sandrak, Free Sandrak.
Okay,
Short
cool. Bastion does know about that, but
It's
that's
one
I
of
think
those.
about as far as he knows.
Free Sandjack is one of those places that the name, the use of the name, is in itself a political statement.
Uh-huh.
But when it's talked about here, it's usually in the terms of Ludra's world. Ludra's the noble family who supposedly owned it. But also on the net, on the OmniNet especially, because they don't have good control of that, people talk about Free Sandjack. We'll
But
talk about the
from
resistance
my
on Free Sandjack.
but from my understanding, there's not actually a lot of info freely available about
Nope.
like specifics of what's happening on Sanjak. Yeah.
Some
And
manifestos, some pieces of documentation, one or two pieces of footage that slip through the cracks, but it's very quiet.
so I think Bastion says,
real quick.
"Oh yeah, go on."
Do you
Sorry.
What would people here know about House of Dust and House of Water? Because those are two systems that technically don't have a noble ranking system or anything as well,
That's true.
right?
There,
House of Water advertise. They're usually like advertised amongst like here. They're usually kind of not talked about because they kind of compete for the like vacation crowd a little bit. That's how they're often thought. House of Water, because people go to vacation there. Not much talked about House of Dust. They're not really popular amongst the nobles who frequent here.
Shocker.
but I assume they wouldn't.
For so many reasons.
I'm trying to probe is like how much Bastion would have learned about them, if at all, or heard about them, if at all.
House of Water has some ridiculous uppity ideas. But that's kind of all that's said about it. Like, it's not hidden. Like, you can go look House of Water up. They're a major house. They have voting power in the Baronic Congress. They're smaller in size, but the fact that they have a seat on the Baronic Council at all is very shocking. Like the fact that they are I believe their voting numbers are ignoble on that Congress is something very new and very shocking.
Yeah.
I think Bastion
So they-
says
shit is talked about them on news reports.
I think Bastion says along the lines of like, I know a little bit about Sanjak, and I've heard of House of Water and about the ignoble people who work there, but I don't. Not a lot.
I'll try to keep it short, but essentially just every movement has been either undercut, watered down, or been thwarted effectively in some way, shape, or form. Sanjak is the only one that's currently going that is being crippled by sanctions, but at least is still technically free. House of Dust with Bo has their world being eaten and their entire population being sent as refugees and dispersed. House of Water, sure, they're free if you ignore the class system that's enforced in all but name. The haves and have-nots are still there. They're just conveniently hidden behind credits now. They will not let this world go free without a fight.
I know.
It's not necessarily going to happen now, but I do want you to be ready for that and to talk to your partner and make sure that they are. And if they're not, at least see to it that, I don't know, they're not on the wrong side of things.
I got it. Thank you. Yeah, I'll talk to them.
Righto. Beyond that, I do think we should go ahead and maybe try to exchange some ideas for just this DOJ interview coming up, just what we want to actually present to them, and if you happen to have any other, I don't know, people we could collect statements from.
Yeah, I can go talk to my friends down at the spaceport. Um, I can go do that.
Yeah, having a series of statements just about the general conditions definitely couldn't hurt, at least.
Alrighty. Uh, if that's everything.
Yeah, that's all I had on my mind. And if you do want to know anything more about how things went, I know you can look some stuff up online, but I'm always happy to go ahead and answer any questions about House of Dust, House of Water, any of that.
Yeah. Think I'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
And I think Bastion's gonna go head out and walk towards the spaceport. Oh, on the way out, I think Bastion's gonna do a cursory glance to see if he can see a man matching the description of the video earlier.
No, it's just regulars.
Just regulars? Okay.
Not
Got it.
everywhere. Yeah. Shadows in the night.
I don't like that. I'm gonna head down to the you've stolen my ability to move my guy. You've done the terrible thing of locking me in place. I'm still Thank you. Thank you for freeing me. Why does that keep happening? Jesus. Go head over, just start walking over towards the spaceport
Yeah.
while other people do other scenes, I assume.
Yeah, does anyone else have stuff they want to collect for this meeting?
Yes. I am sorry in advance. I would like to do a homework roll for
Hell
bookkeeper.
yeah.
Oh, what do you want to find? What do you want to do?
I'm sorry. Specifically, the list of rights we are afforded under DOJ investigation and interview, which go as such. Are we recorded? Are we allowed to record? Do we have the right to request relevant experts when the topic would benefit from it? Do we have the right to impartiality? Do we have the right to request another interviewer if impartiality is doubted? Are we required to relate all actions or just relevant ones? Is the main accusation still possible, still a violation, or are secondary concerns relevant? Can we request a second meeting?
So yes, on all cases, second meeting. You're not sure how official this is, so you're not sure fully how secure those rights are, because this meeting might not quite fit the category of official meeting, because like contact place in the union bureaucracy and structure is very unclear.
Mm-hmm.
You do know that sometimes union bureaucracy moves kind of slow. One of the downsides of a government of that size and scale and distance, and so the amount of time it can take to get that second interviewer can be very long. That as part of doing your external homework, right? It can be a long time to get that second interviewer.
Oh no. So we better get this one right. That's comforting.
But yes, you do have a right to you have a right to record the. Actually, I'm not sure that there's a. You have a right to no because they're good. The problem is that Union does things that are inconvenient to itself because it's trying to do things correctly. So like you do have a right to record. There's a request that you not disseminate that footage while talks are ongoing, because that could damage the sort of the capacity of the talks through public pressure. So it is a sort of a mark against the talks if you air the content of the talks while the talks are ongoing. But also you do have that right to record. You do have that right to publicly share the talks once the talks are completed, both trying to shield the unions from sort of like public pressure campaigns, right? Where if you cut stuff badly, make them look bad, to make the job of the auditor harder, and make their view more impartial. But also you have the right to air that because it is important that people get to know and that there is culpability, right?
Yep.
And so Union is trying to sort of hedge both of those bets, by encouraging people to share those talks if they believe that it's correct, and also discouraging them from doing it while the talks are ongoing, so the talks can happen impartially as best as possible. It's sometimes union policy is a mess because it is trying very hard to do the right thing, and that's very hard. It's very hard. It turns out it's very hard to build a set of procedures by which injustice cannot happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so part of the reason that it gets kind of bureaucratic and messy is because they're trying very hard to make sure that all parties are respected and treated with decency, right? Like Bookkeeper, you're familiar with union law, I think probably more than anyone here, and just like noticing, I think maybe because you've been here for a while, just doing that research, you're immersing yourself back into that world of like, oh, all of these laws and policies are designed with the intent that the author of that law will be happy being on either side of that gavel.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense, right? Because there's people that like, there's that idea, right? Like, build a society in which you would be happy being at any point in that society. Right, because in this society, it would be great if you were Prince. It's not great if you're somebody else. And maybe it's not great if you're Prince either. Turns out. But also, like, Union you can tell that, like, these laws, as you're looking at them, you're like, oh, the difference here is that these laws are specifically designed to give as much rights and decency as possible to all parties involved. And errs on the side of giving more rights and decency to people outside of the governmental structure, because it understands the power imbalance between individuals and even like cities and planetary groups, and Union itself. So it's trying to help offset that power disparity in negotiations through essentially giving them the upper hand as much as possible with its procedures. Which feels wild, right? Like you're like, oh, but how does this help them stay in power? Because you grew up in a system that was all about staying in power and controlling and holding that power, and you are currently in a system that's all about holding on to that power and diminishing those of lesser power. And these set of rules and laws, like you can tell, they're designed with that intent.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I give you a homework answer for your homework questions.
No, this is great.
So yes, a second, it might take some time, even under normal conditions, to get a second auditor. And you're not sure what those conditions look like under and here, because again, what is contact's relation to Union? Unclear. How official is this meeting? Maybe official. Very unclear.
Ultimately official.
The intent is to safeguard herself from a possibly overly antagonistic interviewer, and someone who regards field grunts as contemptible, which is
So there's, let me see. There's a lot of there are a lot of strictures about essentially how you're supposed to treat people with decency, because again, they're trying to put procedures around the idea of treating people with decency. That's very hard to do, and at some point, a lot of laws boil down to playing it by ear, and Union's laws can be complicated because they're trying to do that as little as possible. Part of it's trying to be covered by that recording clause, right, that you mentioned, right? Where if the auditor is being dismissive, they're not held to the same account. They're held to account, right? There's a couple strictures about like if an auditor is dismissive of the clients, they can file an appeal for the interaction of that auditor, and also right, and that appeal can and list of like how that appeal can go, how that would be distributed through courts.
all good things.
Yeah, not very fast things, but they're working really hard to build a structure where there is accountability.
That's good enough. I'm so sorry to everyone. I'm just trying to make sure we don't get screwed over and we are covered to the best of anyone's ability.
No, this is important research.
Oh, this is excellent.
Are you getting like?
it.
Are there more answers to these questions you're looking for?
No. Honestly, the first yes was sufficient.
Because the first yes covered like the majority of your questions, and there were specific details about some of them.
Good to know.
Working with Union is wild because like they're the good guys. Genuinely, no, like for real, like there's not a secret ominous plot. They're doing their best to treat the world with goodness and kindness. It turns out that doing so is just difficult and complicated. Anyone else? Yeah, who's next? Olmo, are you doing any personal research? I've been curious.
So some of the stuff that we were messaging about, setting some stuff up for that.
Yes, I'm so sorry. Would you mind reminding me?
Just that information on the 5 voices.
Yes. What are you doing with your information on the 5 voices?
So at this point, going ahead and trying to digitize part of it, and then setting up a dead man switch with it.
Oh, we love to see it. We love to see it.
Yeah, the idea being that I'm gonna go and let Baz know about it as well, and Baz I think already knows about the information itself, but just letting Baz know that this should not be allowed to trip. Like, Almost going to be refreshing the switch, of course, but Baz should also not allow it to trip unless they believe that Union is responsible for Olmo's death.
Oh. Oh, fascinating. All yours. We'd love to see it. All yours.
Other than that, I don't think too much else. Oh, I would probably go ahead and check with our other resident NHP about any evidence they might have.
Okay. Yeah. Uh, we're gonna try to interview Cass about information they have currently, which is gonna be a fucking train wreck. Uh, I guess. What kind of information were you looking for?
I'm obviously not asking you to violate anything in terms of causality, but just given the information that you have currently, what violations of the pillars might you know about in relation to this world and the current administration? Do you have any
Um,
data in your databanks?
later or before?
I mean, if you can give later, that would be, well, actually more complicated than it's worth to probably explain. Earlier then, yes.
Uh, I have footage of the terraforming event.
That would be handy to have. Out of character real quick, we've been sharing the information about the terraforming, right, potentially erasing a civilization or
Oh yeah.
okay, yeah. That would
That's
definitely be
that was actually that was known by the augur and the people on board the ship.
that's right, okay, yeah. They were trying to cover something up. Okay, yeah, no, that would definitely be valuable information to have. That footage doesn't confirm that there was anything here prior, does it?
No.
Still would be good to have.
But it is very peculiar that there was a terraforming action initiated without there being and then the world is a desert like this and is a non-verdant desert that's not designed to support particular kinds of life. Like, why would you terraform a planet to look like this?
Yeah.
It's not that it's not a beautiful place. It's not that also it's not that deserts aren't wonderful and important for biodiversity, but like
You spend a lot of money to make it look like this specifically.
yeah. And the water is still getting the water in the bay is not fresh or salt. It's got toxins in it that are being purified currently. Still.
Yeah, no, that would definitely be solid evidence to at least corroborate her story, and raise some interesting questions. I think that's all Olmo's going to do.
Oh, do you want the security? No. You'll want the security footage later. That's a
Security
little
data?
salute.
Do you have footage from inside the ship itself?
Not the ship. Later. Spoilers.
Okay.
And he sounds a little frustrated with himself. You can keep pressing him on it, though.
Olmo wouldn't want to.
That's so self-preservation of you.
And also, I mean, it's just rude, right? Like, it's clear it causes them some degree of distress.
That's so kind of you.
Yes, if there's anything else that you can share, do let us know, but, if there's nothing else, I understand. This is definitely valuable on its own.
I will share it. Uh, the time when I share it. It nods. I don't share it before, but I will share it when I do share it.
Understood.
I will have just been trying to be helpful in this conversation.
It's very much appreciated. I will keep an eye out for it. And with that, they'll go ahead and end the call.
That's so good. Hey, at some point you're gonna want you're gonna want security footage from the city,
That's
from tasks, and that's normal.
Yeah.
It's
Can I
super
wager-
fine.
Can I wager a guess about the security footage?
Oh,
Just from-
sure.
So back on the ship, we did talk about the date. Just blatantly told the father, Demakuku,
Good gracious.
and we did talk about putting it in a location that does have easily retrievable security footage because I do not want to be in a place where Father Demakusu expects me.
yeah.
But that could be totally different. Just what springs to mind.
I love that. Love that. Not an unreasonable guess. I love guessing what our future self is gonna want. It's so normal. So normal. Let's see. Bastion.
Right.
Bastion, what's the plan?
I think Bastion heads in. I think he heads in, and he goes into where the gang hangs out, in the back, where they built his mech. And he plops down in one of the chairs, and he points at Nathan and he goes, "I owe you an explanation for why I needed your clothes."
Oh, I don't know if I want an explanation.
Are you sure?
I do want an explanation. I just don't want to get dragged in by the cops.
I don't think you'll get dragged in by the cops. That would be crazy.
There's so many things, and Nathan makes really directed eye contact with you, Bastion. It's like there are so many things that would be crazy.
I mean, I'm just dating Percy. That's all.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's all he says. Okay. Yep. Right. Okay.
That's it.
Sure. That's it. Yep. That's that. It's fine and normal.
Anyway, I need all of your help. And he pulls out a printed copy of Union's what are they called? Pillars? The pillars?
The Utopian Pillars.
Yeah. I need to record statements from you guys about ways in which you feel that living here has broken these pillars.
Am I going on TV?
No, unfortunately, it's not your time to be a big star. Not yet.
Well, I wouldn't ask about that. I've got that all set up. But
I'm going to go talk to someone in Union who can change things around here. And I need your guys' help.
all right. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that.
I think Bastion squeezes Nathan's arm and goes, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't important. You guys deserve to have your voices heard.
I think we just... I know I just got used to making... But sure. Let's... Sometimes you have to go... not just to a different planet, but to an entire different galactic government to make it work, huh? Okay, listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't really think that me on my own and in our hand-built mech was going to be able to change everything, did you?
You know, to be honest, I was just thinking we'd stick them one good. I didn't really... I don't know, hey! We worked hard on that. You don't
We
talk
did
shit
work
about
hard
that.
on that!
And it did good!
It did good! Yeah! And then I think they do a bunch of high fives.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. One last shout out for other people's money.
Good mech! We used a good one, boys.
Actually, my favorite version of Boys Will Be Boys is high-fiving over building a giant robot. Let's see. Yeah, do we want to do those interviews? Potentially snap back those interviews during the meeting.
Sure. Or we could just say that they're done.
We could, yeah, exactly.
Either
We
one
could
works.
say that they're done, and then we could snap back to like the content of them during the meeting itself.
Okay.
I love that. Okay, what else? What else do people want to do today? Are there any places in the city that we haven't seen or that we want to talk about? And are there any people we want to, any NPCs we want to call in for this? Clearly, Tabitha.
Oh, sweet Christ, don't.
I mean, how crazy would it be to call in Percy?
God.
What if you had the prince of the whole planet testify against
Listen,
the
if
planet?
I'm not allowed to try to call in Elizabeta, you're not allowed to try to call in Percy.
I didn't say you weren't allowed to call in Elizabeta.
No, but it would be an objectively bad idea.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's a great idea.
I feel like we're gonna run into people's like conflicting political goals very fast. Like, sure, yeah, no, definitely. I want to change the structures that are going on here, and also, I don't know if I want the vilified external government to come and fix our problems for us.
Yeah.
That rankles my sense of self-determination.
We probably shouldn't bring Percy in. You
I
probably shouldn't bring
know.
Percy into it until you've had a talk
know.
about what your goals are.
I know.
Once you've talked about both of your 5-year plans, and if they go
Do you
together.
think Bastion's ever had a 5-year plan?
Dot, we're trying to fix the government. Don't bring 5 years of plans into this.
Okay, but you need to have some idea of what you want to accomplish in the near-ish future.
Okay.
5-year plans into this.
6-month plan.
Woo!
Bastion can do a 6-month plan.
This is just reminding me that Penn has questions for all of you and your goals. Like, what the fuck are you trying to accomplish? Because we haven't had that conversation as a team yet, which I think is wild.
We've gotten really close a couple times.
Yeah.
And I think so far we've been all very aligned on what we want to happen, because what we want to happen is. But I mean, I think that's also very, very accurate to like. Actually, sometimes the first few steps are very clear. Because the first few steps, we're all on board for the same things that are clearly wrong that we need to fix.
Yes.
And the later steps are much more complicated, and the objectives are different.
It's one of those things where it's like, okay, so when it comes to if your goal is to just stop thing, sure, fine. But if you're just constantly stopping thing and you're not ever moving towards something else, then you've got half of a goal.
Right, exactly.
and we are not necessarily, not that we are not, but like as a team we haven't confirmed that the second half of the goal is shared. We haven't talked about that as a group at all. But that's a conversation for later.
I'm sorry, I'm being smothered by my cat.
How dare
Oh,
you?
no.
All right, so I'm gonna keep queuing it up. I hope I'm not getting too repetitive when I'm asking. I'm just like, what things people want next?
This is it.
Are we feeling ready?
No, but I don't know what else to do besides grab more witnesses.
I mean, hey, that's also a thing you can do.
Okay.
And
let
where
me
in
look
this
up
where in the
the-
city do you want to go to find more people to talk to?
Okay. So, Eustace would make a great witness for the water riot. But we don't know how much we can trust him. Bastion, you already got testimony from any of your friends that were present at the riot, correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Okay.
that's what Bastion's doing.
Okay. If we could get a noble, fucking phenomenal. I think Eleanor is still on lockdown. And so is Percy. And
I mean, Bastion could call Percy right now and talk about their 5-year plan, and then see if he wants to give testimony. If that's what we want.
Not particularly.
Tabitha is, I know, too dangerous to ask, but it would be really funny, and it might go well. But
Not.
I don't think it's worth the trouble.
No.
You sound so exhausted already.
Listen.
I will say,
Other witnesses. Oh, as a team, do we want to talk about exactly what context we want to discuss the paracausal events under?
I just tell it like it is. Or was.
Or
Or
will
will
be.
be.
I think it's all has been, hasn't it?
Also, I should say for other sources, technological granny could also potentially be a source.
I love that you're secretly trying to morph the name.
You're find one. We're gonna find one that sticks.
Techno Granny.
Granny.
Again, this woman is 43.
Granny.
Techno Granny.
I definitely think Dozer would reach out to them and just see if they happen to have, like, if they wanted to make a statement or something.
Oh, you want my statement? I think that's wonderful. I would love, I have so many states. And she starts sending you documentarian encyclopedia pages on different countries. He has so many
Yeah,
states.
this is very cute, but I assume that you, more than anybody, would have an understanding of some of the more flagrant violations of the pillars, and might have receipts on them as well. If you happen to have anything, do send it our way, please.
There is just one core problem. You see, often when encounters happen, and she's gonna send you a full documentarian report from essentially from Union, looks like a classified internal Union report on the appearance of a frame known as La Pulga, which appeared to be some sort of Horus-related frame. And you can tell from the documentation, like, they are scared by the fact that they don't know what it is deeply concerning to them.
As this you?
And like she's like, we don't tend to get on well, me and
It doesn't have to be an identified source if you want me to
my friends. And
put it forward myself, or just scrub it and say a reliable source.
I was never really one for the book reports and numbers, but thanks for thinking of me, kid.
Of course. I honestly don't necessarily expect a whole lot from this, at least right away. So we'll see how it actually goes.
Right. Right. Are people ready? Are ready to dive in for the meeting?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Awesome. Hey, I remember when people have been like, I remember in our sort of side discussions, people have been like, we talk about like, oh, this isn't a sandbox. Like, you can just blow holes in this plot.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the all bets are off. Who's to say what's going to happen phase?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Today on doing our job and cutting the campaign short.
I mean, listen. This could go very well. That's also possible.
Like, if it goes too well, the campaign ends.
I don't think that's an option.
I don't think that's not an option.
Okay.
I don't think it can go. Yeah.
Do you expect it to go poorly?
I don't expect anything.
No, I was bragging.
I'm not gonna show you my hand. That's no fun. Yeah. So everyone arrives at the meeting space and gets settled in. Shifa's gonna bring everyone just like a. Shifa did like some like catering prep. Like she prepped like just a set of like snacks and sandwiches. And like a thing of coffees. Shifa's like visibly nervous as you all sort of come into the meeting room.
I think.
Oh, go for it.
I think Bastion also is visibly nervous and is shaking his leg rapidly.
Please let me know if any of you need anything. It was a lot of work to get here, so thank you.
Thanks, Shifa.
And she places like a comforting hand on your shoulder, and gives like a little squeeze, and heads out. As the door closes, and lights shift right, so that the hologram portrays better. Contact appears in the hologram and says, "Hello, everyone. It's very good to see you. Thank you for meeting with me. I know that this has been somewhat of a strange process, and I appreciate all your help.
Yeah.
I worked hard to get this meeting, and do you need time with one another to? Well, no. I hope you've all conferred. I'm glad you've gathered resources and research on this topic. I cannot intervene. I just need you to be fully honest and direct with people. Please be unflinchingly truthful about your experience. Anything from me before we begin?
Did you have any luck? I know that after our excursion into the desert, you said that you would see if you were able to find or confirm if the potential grave that we talked about was still there. Was that?
That evidence
that
is
exist?
gone.
All right. Cool. Thank you.
As so appears is the ship.
Wow. All right.
The best I can fathom is that the law broke that down for component parts. They're not sure what the maw is doing out there, but unfortunately that is outside the scope of this meeting. Hopefully.
I did want to check in with you, and perhaps we can talk about this later, but what the status of getting resources to deal with the mob is.
Oh, sorry, what was that again, Lauren? Your audio cut out a little bit.
Oh, just almost just going in and checking in to see like what is the status of getting resources to deal with the mall?
Transit takes time, but signs are hopeful.
Good to hear.
This is a heavy business, but that is point of light. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be tracking this down. I think you all have. Each of you has a unique perspective of great value, and I do feel hopeful, so be honest. Be straight with. I had to pull a few strings to get this meeting, so.
Thanks, Dad.
And
It's a
just,
forlorn thanks, Dad.
he
It's a
just
sad
smiles
and
and he
serious
goes,
thanks, Dad.
You'll do just fine, kid. You'll do just fine, kiddo. And he's going to now. I would like to present an auditor from Union Department of Justice and Human Rights. Marianne Ulfway. Please, Marianne, take it away. Oh, pardon me. Oh, I gotta make a horrible noise.
He gets on cam and immediately just starts coughing.
Me.
Yeah.
Me constantly.
And he transitions and sort of splits into two holograms. She's not physically in the space with him. She's like, it's your conference calling in, right? And you see this sort of small, curly haired, sort of old woman, her like mid-50s. She's got some sort of round spectacles. Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to meet you under some peculiar conditions, but I heard reports that everyone here. I've heard reports that there have been previous pillar violations here, and while this is not an official meeting in an official capacity, would still like to meet with you and learn of would like to learn everything that I can, see how best I can help. And she looks deeply concerned.
Aww. Sweet.
Perhaps if we highly irregular, but if you would be willing to organize our testimony and our arguments, our testimonials into organization of those three pillars, and on the counts of their violation, As you know, their union upholds three utopian pillars, and each world of the Karakan trade baronies as member states of union is sworn to uphold those pillars. First, all shall have their material needs fulfilled. Second, that no wall shall stand between worlds. And third, that no human shall be held in bondage through force, labor, or debt. I understand that there are many problems, but I would like to better understand from the unique lived experiences of the people around this table and those they have spoken with, better what those might be. Smile. She's nervous about something, but she does care deeply.
Can I
On that,
sense motive?
well, yeah, go for it. Give me a something's weird roll.
That's a 13.
More than 10.
Yeah. There's something that she's not. She is genuinely wants to hear your stories, wants to help. There's something on her side of the negotiating table that is not clear yet, that she is worried about.
Like the potential fallout from interfering with the KTV world.
The eye of the baronies, I think, is particularly focused here, especially with the games and this planet's purpose.
Yeah.
On that first
right.
count, all shall have their material needs fulfilled. It is paramount that all humans be afforded the decency of a life in which their basic needs are met. And while it is their duty to fulfill those needs, I understand that there are many ways in which planets of the diaspora and of the baronies might interpret those words, and many different forms in which the member states perform those duties. But I understand that, as in many places, those are sometimes not met.
I think Bastion clears their throat and says, there's a construction of a new dome nearby in my community. And they bought out people's houses, but it wasn't enough for those people to buy new houses. And so there are many people, my friends and neighbors, who are living in shacks.
And she kind of winces. She nods. I wish that had not happened. A right to a decency and a safety of housing is necessary. Are there any other things that have happened? Your own words, please. Or any first-hand accounts you can provide would be greatly appreciated.
I think the most recent, obvious, and egregious example was there is a unfortunate tendency for those who control the market to let's say price out many citizens from goods that are needed for survival, most recently being an incident at a port which caused an artificial inflation in water prices, leading to many people unable to afford enough drinking water. Uh,
Yes, I did uncover that in the research.
while the specific water prices issue has overall been resolved, there's no balance or structure in play to ensure that the basic necessities of food and water are not going to be priced out again in the future.
Thank you. He, there's something deeply sad about that to her, and you realize that like for um she's a union DOJ HR auditor, so she sees a lot of shit, right? But it's still uncomfortable to hear that people charged money for food and water.
Wait, what?
There's some things about the job you just don't get,
Yeah.
even if you hear them again and again. Food and water are human rights.
Yeah.
Are
Is this in character reaction? Because if
yeah,
so, fuck yeah.
yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Do you mean that there are
That's not something like that.
places-
That was she made like this wince, but like, I'm not. That is something she said. Like it, I as an auditor, this is something I've seen before, but it never gets easier to see people charged for the basic necessities of life, such as food and water.
are there places where people aren't being charged for food and water?
Yes, those are necessities for survival. Sorry, she doesn't say it like that. She says it with a lot more like, yes, there are places where she's like, yes, those are necessities for survival, and as such, they is a requirement that they are provided where possible, or where if money is to be exchanged, it should be done so at such a rate that concerns for food and water should never be a noticeable taxing concern.
You can tell Bastion's like really shaken by this concept.
I understand that economic management is often challenging for a great many of our member states, and especially those still using mana and currency. I'm glad to hear that was resolved. If my research is correct, there was also a after that the incident you mentioned. There was a second incident at the temple. Is at a temple of the Titan. Is that correct?
Yes, that was I would say, likely the reason why water prices have since stabilized.
There was also a significant investment in strategic investment by the estate of the ruling House of Kings to help stabilize those prices after the incident occurred, which I am happy to see has been rectified.
Interesting.
I think Bastion smiles a little bit. Bastion's excited about that.
And are there any violations of this right to material needs?
I think Bastion holds out his hand and goes, I can't really afford to go to college.
She nods. I understand that is a significant barrier. Personal freedom and expression. He nods. And I suppose we shall open the floor to further discussions on this topic, but on the second pillar, no wall shall stand between worlds, often interpreted to mean, in a literal sense, the freedom to travel and to journeying, but often I find can be applied in cases of limited access to the knowledge of travel or the other forms of mobility.
Oh, is Charlotte gonna be here with us?
Yeah, are we calling Charlotte to be here with us?
I think that was
Yes,
the thing we were
yes,
doing.
we have.
Yes, it is. I believe. Yeah, I thought so. Okay.
Sorry, I was gonna say something and then I got distracted.
Oh,
Her
good.
testimony wasn't recorded.
No.
She's
No.
oh man, she's showing
She-
the fuck up. Okay.
We decided that because of her unique circumstances, a more dynamic interaction would be more appropriate.
You know.
is what Penn would say if anybody asked.
She is.
Matthew
really
would just be
about-
like, her voice. It is important that she is here to share her voice on something that we cannot speak for.
Yeah.
So
Very
yeah,
nice way of saying
the
her
query,
story's
right?
fucking wild. You need to hear it from her.
So yeah, right. No walls will stand between worlds. Partially, it's about access to transportation for a myriad of reasons, and freedom of movement for a myriad of reasons. What are your thoughts on Pillar 2, everybody? Charlotte looks very nervous.
There is a certain subset of the population who are not allowed or able to interact with not only the larger OmniNet or off-world culture, but even others within the city. We have found that there is a population living within the domes that does not have access to any net or technology and is not aware of existence of life on other planets, let alone, honestly, life outside of the dome.
Excuse me? I'm struggling to understand. Perhaps you could clarify what kind of arrangement this is or how this came about.
I think, Bastion squeezes Charlotte's arm.
Yeah, Penn would just look at Charlotte like, I tried to introduce it. Do you want to say anything?
Charlotte also, like, yes, I grew up in what I believed to be the throne of a powerful lord of the throne world Caracas. I understand is not the only world, nor the world upon which I currently reside. The auditor looking at her deeply concerned, like very closely listening, like a little confused by this information. It says, I was raised within one of the large structures on this planet, climate-controlled environment, and told that the world stretched only as far as the walls of that enclosure. I believe that enclosure may be the correct term. And the auditor, says, how long have you had access to the outside world? Charlotte, she says a few weeks, perhaps? Somewhat closer than a month. I find that it is very beautiful here. I'm not sure how many of my family members would agree.
When we went into the dome, they did not even have access to correctives.
Limited medical access as well.
Yes.
And when we saw somebody with an injury and offered a med pack for help, there was fear of. They were less concerned for the injury and more concerned that having access to the technology would merit trouble of some kind.
I understand that SSC's Constellar worlds work on a similar controlled environment system, but those are with the assent of all involved and
full knowledge of what exists outside. Yes, people are able to consent to living there.
And what would you estimate this population size to be? And Charlotte says, well, we had about 150 souls. Pauses. Right. Understood. Thank you again for your testimony, and I hope this new world in which you found yourself is treating you well. Perhaps our third pillar. No human shall be held in bondage through force, labor, or debt. Similarly, this is one of those most important to the auditing process. I would appreciate your thoughts, your understandings.
Bookkeeper is probably going to stand up and smooth over some papers and present all the evidence we have that the first generation in the domes taken from outside were coerced and given the choice between servitude or death. And again, this is all but physical evidence.
And I think that if Penn sees that evidence that you're pulling out, he will share the video of the
super corrupted around any part of the video that's that covers specifically the event where the second copy of Commander Krakuta from the past appeared, right? The video is quite corrupted, but you can still make out shapes and forms and movement in it.
So you can still see that there are you said that that you could still tell that there was people being menaced, yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, this apologies for the corruption. There was some paracausality issues. but this is a video documentation of a group of laborers who were taken to the middle of the desert. And we have, unfortunately, no physical evidence, but no, fortunately, no physical evidence, I would say, in this case, that if things had played out even slightly differently, they would all be dead, or many of them would be dead.
Additional evidence. How detailed were the scanner readings that Bookkeeper managed to get incidental to discovering the mass grave? And can we play a clip of Charlotte's mother mentioning and all the things that imply that she was there?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah. Very effective organizing of your evidence. The auditor, you realize that this person's been doing this job for a very long time. And it's not that they're jaded, it's just that this is the part of the job they're more used to. If that makes sense. And she says, "Thank you for understanding. As I see that the treatment of the people in these domes has been deeply unreasonable and unkind. Thank you for your input. Are there any other ways in which the people of this world are held in bondage through force, labor, or debt?"
Beyond the, well, I think at this point Penn would turn and look at Bastion and say, the people that you, all of your friends and family, to
Yeah.
get the food, shelter, and water that they require to live. How do they do that?
Well, my parents to pay for the food and water and help trying to get people into houses, work 2 jobs, and my friends couldn't afford to go to college. Well, one of them is now, but uh, they all work down at the spaceport. Um, and uh, is there anything else?
N- wasn't able to work for whatever reason, and is there any besides caring neighbors, friends, and family, is there any protections that are in place for those either who aren't able to work? Or would
Oh,
you say that potentially those who don't agree to work for the KTB would not have adequate access to housing, food, or water?
oh, oh, I mean, if my parents if people didn't work, we wouldn't be able to afford food or water or housing.
Okay. So, in
Oh,
many ways, your ability to survive depends on your ability to work, and that you're not really capable of saying no to labor.
Yeah, but isn't that how it is everywhere?
no. No, it is not. I am. That falls under the band of coercion. If are coerced to work in order to acquire the bare essentials you need for survival, that is coercion.
Oh,
I know that often by the time contacted, things have reached a certain point. So, for your patience and understanding, I discussing these truths can very painful. Thank you for sharing the injustices, the truths of the injustices that you have experienced.
Yeah, I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. I just feel like out of everyone here, your testimony is the most pertinent.
I think Bastion just looks really confused, and like is thinking big thoughts.
Well, right, because how much of this is things that Bastion just accepted as normal?
All of it. Bastion was just like, "Oh, this is how it is everywhere."
And this is why Penn was such a terrible, terrible, angsty teenager. It's because he knew that it was different for some people.
Well, I think there's a difference between an injustice that continues ongoingly and an injustice where you know that things could be better, things could be different, and they're not.
Well, I think Bastion knew that things could be better and different, but I don't think he knew how better and different.
Yeah.
Mm.
A lot of Penn's anger is, I would say, more based off of theory versus Bastion's is based off of lived experience.
Yeah.
So fucking valid. And important. That one's actually
And on these multiple counts, the mismanagement of the economy, the unfair pressures of labor, and of the mistreatment of the people in the domes, and she nods to Charlotte. Charlotte waves awkwardly. What sort of intervention are you seeking?
Ideally, there would be a long process in which we figure out what the most effective and least deadly way to deal with these problems would be. Because I don't think that there is necessarily an easy answer, and I don't think that
And certainly those who have been displaced and threatened deserve reparations and support, building new lives if they wish. I ask because these largely seem like civil charges that might be best managed through individual governmental intervention.
Bastion perks up and says, do we talk about... I think he looks at Penn and Obo and Pasha and says, is it important to talk about what happened to all of those people on the ship?
is it important?
Oh, someone else can rule on that. Ben?
How concerned are you on a larger versus individual scale with potential surviving and politically active members of the second committee?
She pauses.
And then Bastion also goes, should I also bring up the amount of times that I've almost been executed?
Is it an assassination versus execution? I should know this. But yes, that's a valid point. And also,
Almost just going to cough and say terraforming. Terraforming.
and also we have the I think we should start calling it de-terraforming just to make it clear what's happening.
Do please enlighten me.
Okay.
On either of these counts.
So, Hero, would you like to share your various interactions with governmental officials in the form of those who are members of various houses and how they have decided that they should try to kill you? And while you do that, I'm going to just sit here and think about the best way to talk about the other time and space nonsense.
Okay. Well, there was the time at the spaceport when armed men were pointing guns at civilians, and I did get shot by a noble from, I don't remember the house that Lofton's a part of.
House of Iron, I believe.
I did get shot by a man from House of Iron. And then there was the time during the water the water protests when a cop shot a grenade at, well, a house guard shot a grenade at me. And then there
Are
was
members of law enforcement utilizing lethal force on the citizenry a regular feature?
it's becoming fairly regular.
Noted.
And then there was the time when I went into the dome for the House of Kings, and the king said he was going to publicly execute me
For being there.
for visiting someone in the domes.
And public executions.
I don't think Bastion's ever seen one, I assume, yeah?
Yeah, is that a thing?
Nah, not really.
No,
Not super much.
I've not seen one before, but that was what was said.
And it did
Good.
take mech intervention for that to not come to pass.
And also, I believe that there is a man who is pretending to be from the Order Xanaglossia and is actually a member of the Second Committee.
And that is a great way for me to lead into
I understand how you've piqued his.
yes, Hero does that.
Oh,
Hero does too many
My
good
apologies.
things.
What did she
I can tell
say?
you. I can tell you. Muttered to herself, now I can tell you've piqued his interest when you were like, and there was a member of the second committee. She was like, now I understand why you've piqued his interest. The likelihood she's talking about? Probably contact. That's interesting.
So we were asked to investigate an old dig site, which is how we were able to provide footage of the labor group that has being threatened. And while we were there, we experienced is experienced a paracausal event a good synopsis?
Yeah.
Close
Okay.
enough.
During which we experienced snippets of time approximating how many years ago was it?
500.
500 years ago of this man, and at that point, Penn will pull up the footage of pre-blue Devakusu talking to somebody on a screen. Where
He looks especially shocked when you share that footage. Why don't you make me just like a recognition check, a read the room check, real quick.
like a read a situation.
Yeah.
I'm good at that one. I still only got an 8. Poop. Okay.
Something about the lady on the camera, very recognizable. Kind of looks like her. That's interesting.
The
No.
augur does?
No.
Oh.
The person that the augur was talking to.
Yes.
Oh.
Not exactly like her. They just
Like they're relatives.
potentially.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
Potentially.
Mars.
Just one of those faces.
Yeah.
How many points do you have in rated situation?
I have 4. Then pilot grade is +2.
Oh fuck! I thought you rolled a 6 and added a 2. Sorry.
No. I rolled a 2 and added a 6.
Tragedy.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all good.
Reasonable.
Where he first came to be on this planet while in the process of fleeing the crumbling Second Committee, as a part of our fun time event. It's the worst way of putting it. Penn would not say that. Penn would say something smarter. But I can't think of what Penn would actually say right now. So we're going with fun time event as opposed to a fun time event.
Is the
Anyway,
very strong Horus presence on this world?
Horus?
Yes. I understand that it often appears
No.
different places.
No. There's one
Understood.
person.
Good.
There's a
Good.
Horus person. That we are aware of. And during that, we discovered that the reasoning. Well, actually, at this point, I would like to ask you, how familiar are you with the history of Passacalia's Promise?
I have done preliminary research on the recorded histories.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you ask?
Do you know why this planet is a desert?
Theoretically, I believe it is due to an impact from a second committee channel. Is that correct?
That is what all current public evidence. That is the theory that is publicly supported. We have reason to believe that it is, in fact, a it was done specifically to prevent any remnants of Second Committee from being able to benefit from this planet in any way. It wasn't an impact, it was terraformers used to make it all desert.
Also, for clarity, the Augur de Bakusu's assumption was that they did this to take the planet from us. Like that's his ego. That the evidence mostly suggested that this was happening to this planet when they showed up.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. In that case, I would probably just say we're not entirely sure why, but it does seem to be that it was terraformers used by the Kraken Trade Barony that did this to the planet.
Understandable. Was it a remodeling process from the noble families, or was there something deeper here?
An excellent question. if it was remodeling, I'm not sure why they would have gotten rid of or poisoned all of the water. And it's strange that the planet hasn't begun to recover in any way. Assuming it was simple remodeling.
What other evidence and sources am I failing to understand? Am I not grasping?
Oh, also, and then at this point, Penn will pull up video of, I don't know, recent video from pull up a close up of the of quote unquote Augur Devakusu's face now, specifically from when Penn lifted him however many feet in the air.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a really nice close up of what he looks like.
Well, he's
and
making
also
the dumbest face in the world.
and he's blue now.
Yep. Fascinating. Allow me
but
to
yes, this is the
see if I've
second.
understood correctly. I hear charges regarding the economic mismanagement and unreasonable financial burden of survival, and thereby coercive work practices. If I'm understanding correctly, the crimes done to those in the domes, and apparently this.
Oh, also, this is the king's primary advisor. Okay, now I'm done.
This event is also very interesting. What kinds of assistance are you seeking?
I think Penn might look at Bastion and be like, "What do you want? What do you think would be right?" Not necessarily how you want to get it, but what do you think? How do you think things should be?
I think Bastion looks like sort of confu- I don't know. I didn't think it would. I didn't think any of this was going to get this far.
I think I might turn back to wait, bookkeeper or dozer, do you want to add anything?
Just to clarify, this is strictly a union large-scale intervention, not small-scale procurement that Contact can handle, correct?
This is the legal case for a DOJ HR intervention.
So what they're
This is-
asking us
this is
what
more direct legal action.
Right.
Like I think as we listed before, right, things like sanctions or like other official actions might be on the table depending on the situation.
Bastion, if you want to speak up, Bookkeeper does have something to say after though, as a proposition.
Bastion said his piece.
Bookkeeper will mention that there are elements in the nobility, and there are factions within the baronies which, if power were shifted into their hands, evidence from personal testimony and overall management of other worlds would point to the conditions on this world improving drastically.
Can I get that one more time?
If we install friendly nobles and or increase house influence to Republicanists and or some of the other much more progressive Kraken factions, that could be the best and most stable outcome for this world. As just a proposition. Probably flagrantly illegal, but
Allow me to be more clear. It is Union standing policy not to directly interfere with the governmental workings of its subject states. One of committed crimes of Second Committee was the ways in which they would force other cultures and societies to follow their directives and patterns to match their own vision of what was good and just, which stripped the self-determination of those people.
So if you aren't willing to enforce the pillars, what is on the table today?
And that beginning, the hesitancy, you see it come back, and she says, I do not wish to do a dishonor to testimony you have shared with me, the testimony, the work you have put in gathering it and protecting the people of this world. I wish to help however I can. Many of these matters are quite serious, but perhaps a civic solution might be better internally.
What
Could
do
you
you
give an
mean by
example?
that?
Perhaps a petition to the ruling Bronic government, other localized solutions to move towards a more just pattern of action. Does anyone want to make a read the room roll?
Yeah.
I
Also,
think anybody who's watching can watch, like, just sort of unease and dread pass over Bastion.
When the DOJ representative says like make a petition to the Baronic Council, just almost gonna laugh, like openly laugh.
Yeah, I think that Penn will also look unsatisfied.
that sounds like a softer way of saying what I just said.
Well, but so the organizing and manipulating a government from the inside is not a thing that Union, DOJ, and HR has a thing that it has an interest or capacity in doing. Because that would be fucking with the sovereignty of that place.
Which is why I specifically said in that a situation in which total Union takeover didn't happen, and that Karakin factions were still in control of the planet, and like I don't think it's.
But shadow
I think
puppeteering a
everybody's-
government is not a thing they do.
Huh?
Shadow puppeting a government is not a thing they do.
Yes, but like bringing those responsible to trial, and those who are left to take over, doing things better is.
That's a new thought.
Yes.
Yes.
Not clarify.
It would be difficult under that framework for Union to be the one prosecuting those crimes, but without them being seen as, sort of installing the new government or having something to do with it. But
She looks deeply uneasy.
Got a 15.
Yeah, 15?
Yeah.
She is struggling with the amount she can do, but also you can just call her on it because she does feel for you and want things to be better.
Sure, I think that Penn will make
And there's
as much.
something standing between her and taking more decisive action.
I
Or
think
being
Penn
more
will
forthcoming about how to take more decisive action.
make eye contact with her and say, there are currently people starving to death. There are currently people dying from exposure. There are currently people who are becoming sick and they are not able to get access to adequate medical care.
And I
What
think
can you do to make that not the case?
Bastion, were you saying something?
Oh no. I would like to hear her response first.
Yeah, that's so real. I can perhaps act in an advisory capacity and perhaps see if there are aid efforts. We could work with the local government to provide aid to some of the individuals affected.
Okay, that's a start. Are you able to apply pressure in any way for there to be investigations into why people are not getting what they need?
And it's the word pressure that's causing her to. You
Are
found the
you able to
button.
help facilitate investigations to make sure people get what they need, and they will in the future?
Can you stop the cops from trying to kill the people in my community?
And she looks up at you and she is deeply sad.
Because I don't know how long I can keep doing this and not dying.
Perhaps I should be entirely frank with you. Who here is familiar with the worlds of the Dawnline Shore?
Bookkeeper's gonna raise his hand.
Yeah, Elmore raises his hand.
Pen's gonna do a wiggly hand motion, not like a raise, but like a
Yeah.
kinda.
So,
Bastion doesn't.
Bookkeeper's gonna
clarity.
see the wiggly hand and switch to that.
currently there are conflicts arising in the Dawnline Shore, a set of worlds that both the baronies and the Harrison Armory lay direct claim to. Many colonial holdings and ambitions by the American Trade Baronies, as well as direct actions by the Harrison Armory. And in these contexts, it's our job as union to hold the peace and to organize that peace. Our position as a neutral moderator is very important.
Excellent, thank you.
Many in the baronies already believe that we hold a missive or confrontational position towards them and their structures of government. And in my complete honesty, you find yourselves in a rather unique position. The eyes of the baronies and of the union are turned upon you, and taking direct sanction towards your government or attempting to prosecute its leaders is incredibly difficult because while there are hundreds of thousands of people in this place who are being treated unfairly, we are attempting to prevent what could become a civil event, claiming millions, billions of lives. You are right that the things done to you and yours are deep injustice. Part of my position is attempting to play a game on a scale that is frankly unfair to any of those within it.
So, are you saying that there's nothing you can do? No, because that would be a waste of your time and your care and your wisdom and your honesty. She holds her brow for a moment. She is deeply pained by the thing that she is caught between. I need to find a significant enough cause for direct intervention.
Interference by Union is already a difficult topic in the best of times.
What kind of thing are we talking about? What would need to happen?
The silence is real and in character. She is very shaken because she finds herself pulled between her strategic thought, general concept of how to save lives, right, on the meta scale, and her personal thought of believing you and caring about the injustice being done to you, and worrying that some forms of her taking action will cause more deaths. There are limited actions I can take on this matter. I am saddened and sickened by the injustices that you have faced. And she looks specifically at you, Bastion, and specifically at Charlotte.
That's fine. I was just wondering how many people needed to die before something was done. And I think Bastion at that is going to get up and just leave. Cuz he's got too many big emotions.
Yeah! Yeah! It's not a board meeting until someone storms out and just rips someone's heart out as they leave the room. Listen, sometimes we all it's gotta happen.
Give me my
sorry.
guy.
Yeah.
I understand why you need to lock him in place so I didn't knock everyone over, but also goodbye.
Did anyone say anything to that silence as Bastion's, like, the door slams shut and Bastion walks out?
Yeah. I was gonna go ahead and turn towards them and just say, look, I understand that you have a lot on your plate and you can't have Union caught king making in this situation. Do you think, though, that if a change in power were to occur here, you would be able to, at the very least, broker a situation similar to Sanjak? You would stop their armies from pouring in.
Sanjak is a situation. Situation New Sanjak is far beyond my capacity as an individual. And she sort of looks after the direction Bastion stormed out. She says, I can give you a Farfield team. I can spare a Union Farfield team do on the ground assessing. They are able to act in much more of an official capacity. And
You
are able.
also. Oh, sorry.
No, please.
You also mentioned aid earlier. I think it would be beautiful if Union would take a more active role in providing the things frequently denied to those currently living in Pasacalia's promise. Just food, water, the things we've mentioned earlier. Is that something that's on the table?
We'll see what I can do.
Okay.
There's a local Farfield team. They should be arriving in several weeks. The Union Farfield team are a group of lancers designed specifically for for assessing an intervention. So they deem a greater form of intervention necessary. We can move from there through official channels.
Okay.
I am sorry for my hesitancy.
I understand why it exists.
The numbers game is not fair to any one of us. Please send my apologies to your colleague. And she is just crying. And she's gonna please send my apologies to your colleague. Just cuts the.
I think Penn is going to look at Dozer and Bookkeeper and say, well, I was thinking we needed to have a conversation on where everyone lies regarding revolution versus reform. I think let's get Hero back if we can and have that conversation sooner rather than later. I'm gonna go check on him. And then Penn's gonna stand up and go look for Bastion.
Where did Bastion go?
Bastion went over to the domes to
Oh my
spray
God.
paint.
Hell yeah.
Because he's fighting himself to not do something really crazy.
I think Penn's gonna message Bastion and just say, meeting's done. Where you at?
I think Bastion's messages at the dome.
Immediate response, you're going to visit Percy right now?
Bastion goes, no, the not built dome.
Okay. Sweet, be right there. And then yeah, Penn is going that direction quickly. But also can't move. Hello?
Ah, sorry. Thank you for your patience. I don't want to do
You're all
something.
good. I assumed you were busy.
Ah. Go for it. You're gonna go find Bastion?
I'm gonna go find Bastion.
Go find Bastion.
I think
What is-
maybe once Penn. Oh wait, sorry, you were gonna ask something. That was
I'm just gonna ask what are other folks up to as the sort of the meeting breaks up. Contact. By the way, as before you leave, Contact, I was gonna say thank you very much for your honesty. There's always going to be a difficult meeting.
Out of character, do we have any contact means for the DOJ representative, or
Oh.
no? Okay.
He says if you need to get in contact with her again, message me. I will do my best.
Could I ask, just like out of character, for the opportunity to send one petition for like union soft aid? Doesn't have to be answered, just need to be able to get the message to her.
Petition for what?
Soft aid.
What does that mean?
Can't do, they can she said she can't do anything directly, but she did mention that relief efforts could be sent on their way. It would just be like I'm cooking something, but it's not baked yet.
Oh yeah, she said she's going to do her best to provide aid.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see what that means.
Yep. How are we feeling after the meeting?
I mean,
Do we feel like that went well?
Better
No.
than Wilma thought. Like, at least they
Oh,
seem genuinely sympathetic.
yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing?
I said it wasn't nothing,
Yeah.
but it was pretty fucking close.
Yeah.
I wish I could say I was surprised.
No, it's fine.
Bastion's having a bad time.
What Pen Bastion, how does Pen find you?
Bastion is just like I think Bastion is doing his own rendition of the thing the Titan image that Percy made, but like it's fast and it's angry and the lines are much thicker and it's very messy. And I think he's like I mean he's wearing his like it's hard to see what his face is doing because he's wearing his proso collar, so it's hard to see like how he's feeling.
Pen.
I think Penn will look around and scope out a flat-ish piece of rubble to sit on and watch as Bastion is doing this, and after a couple of seconds be like, so tell me what you're thinking.
Do I have to?
No, no, you don't.
I just they're not even gonna do anything. Nothing's gonna happen. I thought finally that something was going to happen and that they were going to change it. But nothing's gonna get done, and I'm gonna have to do it myself.
Yeah, we will. I'm sorry.
And I think
In
Bastion just like sits down on the ground.
in the world of your dreams, what do you want? How do you want it to be?
I didn't they said things that I didn't even know were an option.
Mm.
It didn't I'd love it if I didn't my parents were able to stay home and I was able to see them. Because they didn't have to work all the time, and I would love if people weren't living in shacks.
Yeah.
And I would love if Percy didn't have to deal with all of his responsibilities and was able to go and do whatever he wanted. And I want my friends to be able to go to college or leave the world if they want to. And I don't necessarily know if that comes with the government becoming a republic or if it means it has to become a union world. I don't that stuff is kind of beyond me, but it can't stay the way it is.
I agree. Do you want to hang out here and feel things about it longer, or would you like to head back with and talk as a group. Either is good.
Do you mind if I stay here for a while?
Is it okay if I stay with you? You can tell me to piss off, it's fine.
Fashion says, I think I need to be alone.
Yeah, I get it. I'll message later about all of us meeting up and talking. But that'll be later.
Yeah. Sure,
Alright.
yeah, that might be nice.
Okay. Take care of yourself. Don't
I
get
will.
arrested or shot.
I'll try.
Message me if you're worried about any of those things happening.
I will.
Well,
Thanks.
Of course. Actually, you should probably message the group chat. Just, more people on the job. Safer.
Got it.
All right, take care. And I think
Yeah.
Pen's gonna wander off and message the group chat and just be like, not right now, but next couple days, is there a good time for all of us to meet up at the cafe again?
Group chat, how we
Bookkeeper
doing?
messaged that he's free. Just name a time.
Yeah, we'll just respond that he's flexible.
Also, everyone remember that
Also, Charlotte's there.
Spidey's getting into the city.
What's
Your
getting to
friend
the
from
city?
your friend from the ship said she was entering the city in a few days.
Yes.
Is that happening?
That's coming up. That's coming up very soon.
Yeah. That's like a couple days out, right?
It's been a busy week. I will go back and do all the numbers on exactly when that is.
Okay, cool.
I
Fine.
think Bastion is gonna message Percy that they need to talk. Doesn't have to happen now, because Percy's busy, but that they need to talk.
Percy, like, immediately responds, like, of course, whatever you.
When's a
Such a
good
gift
time?
to see you again.
uh, I think Bastion says just whenever you're free.
Percy, like, I will make time in my schedule tomorrow. Whenever you need. Team still at the coffee shop with Charlotte. Aoife like knocks on the door. Charlotte lets her in. She was just, I hope that meeting went as well as it could.
The part
And
that sucks is that I think it did.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a phenomenal comeback. If you're not saying it, Valorant, I am.
oh yeah, no, I mean, almost probably just gonna go in and say, yeah, that went about as well as I expected it. At least they're sympathetic. Honestly,
Nothing has changed.
Contact actually still up. So I'm not so sure about that.
No.
She said she was sending us a team. And she said she'd see what age she could send us.
we'll see
Oh.
what comes of it.
She said she was sending folks a team. We'll have a talk about the degree to which I'm not here. Legally. that comes around.
Of course. I don't know. I can't help but worry that any change she would be comfortable with would be ineffective.
Bookkeeper's just going to kind of muse out loud that if Father Demakusu is who we think he is in fact under Union jurisdiction and likely could be extradited relatively cleanly.
That's a very good point. You brought up to her that she might bring up with someone else. A lot of folks don't take kindly to that. I do promise I didn't know beforehand. I genuinely was surprised by that. Some of us trouble just has a way of finding.
Hopefully, Union's comfortable cleaning up this planet in their pursuit to clean up the second committee.
And Shifa kind of smirks a little bit and she goes, well, let's see what cleanup means, huh? He nods. Just I know that there's a lot of ugliness here, but I also don't know how I feel about someone coming in and trying to fix this for us. I think that that's been a long time coming. That doesn't mean there aren't good folk. They can't do good work. Wants to contact back.
Of course, I don't think anybody wants a foreign power ruling over them, but it would be nice if they saw fit to equip us, or at the very least sanction our efforts.
Well, I suppose you do have the next best thing. And he like looks up at contact with this smirk. He says, I know it might not feel like it, but you did good today. And she like taps Charlotte on the shoulder. Charlotte like hasn't spoken since the meeting. Still like figuring it out. Oh, does anyone have one last thing they want to, one or two last things they want to do before the end of this episode?
Yeah, Bookkeeper is going to speak up and say, I owe you an apology. You've done very good work here, and I think I've let my frustration with the overall situation bleed over into my dealings with you.
Contact?
Yeah.
I think there are many things to be frustrated about in this world. People are angry with me for not being able to do enough. Just like how Bastion was very reasonably angry with. We both understand that just as sadness and sorrow or grief are a part of this work, so is anger. I do not hold anger against those who have been hurt. Curating all of those emotions are. So thank you. But I understand where you're coming from.
Bookkeeper's just going to stare into the distance and nod.
For the record, I think that from what I know of your past, doing their legacy proud. It is a legacy of which.
Bookkeeper's gonna kind of grimace at that and change the subject, or just ask Charlotte how she's doing.
Charlotte, doing okay. Still, just got a lot to think about. Because Charlotte says that it keeps feeling like she rediscovering the shape of her world over and over, and the shapes that it can take. Almo Contact's gonna reach out to you. Almo Contact's gonna thank you for sticking with us. And thank you for your support as well. I think your perspective is invaluable, and I appreciate your willingness to work with us.
I'm happy to be able to be part of this. It's nice being able to continue making a difference.
Let's make the difference that we can. Tomorrow, make a little more difference. Then we keep at the whetstone. Thank you all for your work. And from me, the Game Master, thank you all for joining us for another episode of Divine Right of Kings. This episode was a wild one. It was wonderful. All of you are amazing. Thank you so much. Let's see. It's kind of awkward to transition from such an intense beat into silly goofery. But
Silly
goofery it is. So, we have a VOD channel if you want to catch up on everything. The last episode took forever to get up there, but it's up there now, so thank you for your patience.
It's up there? Hell yeah.
We also have a Tikataka. It hasn't been updated in a very long time because life is very busy, and that's actually a lot of energy, but also I like doing it, so there's probably gonna be more. What else? What else are we looking for? Oh, shout out, drink some water, hug someone. Shout out to hug. I think that's the thing I want to plug in addition today. As like a good hug and treating each other with kindness. It's hard, but also it's worth it. Everyone is so wonderful. Y'all are so wonderful. We will see you all next week at 7 p.m. PST. For our friend from the ship. And I'm sure it's going to be so normal.
Is normal our goal? Shit.
Oh,
I'm doing this right at all.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next week. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you have a good one. Goodbye.
Bye.
Later.